I was like flat out, rejected by numerous guys over the course of my lifetime, and it killed me each and every time. It killed me that because I was not changing. I was still attracting the same unavailable guy, but I knew deep down I needed to change. There was something going on deep within me that I had to like bring up to the surface and examine it. You know what I mean?
Like this notion of liberty, for example. What is liberty?
And I think that concept of the will is very important.
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet? What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
Bitcoin will not work as digital gold.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.
Everyone deserves the same chance, the same treatment, the same respect.
Boom shakalaka. That's the obligatory phrase that I start my podcast with. It's all good. Want to say something for me, Thi?
Hi, my name is Thi. I'm here today joining Crystal on this Crystal journey.
Yo, wait. I'm the one that's introducing things, right? It's my podcast. Don't be taken over. This is what girls do. They get in your home and they want to take over everything. They start rearranging stuff and they get ahead of themselves. This is my podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, brothers and sisters around the world, I am broadcasting through both TikTok and I'm recording this for the viewers on my YouTube channel and all the other social media platforms. This is the first for me. I don't usually do my podcast stuff on TikTok, but we'll see how it goes. Everyone, what's happening? You might be used to typically seeing me serenading the senoritas on the TikTok live streams, but today I got the amazing Thi in the house. You know what I've called this podcast?
What?
I've called it Thi-ology.
Theology.
You see what I did there? You like that?
Very pun intended. Love it.
Absolutely. Because I know you're very much into consciousness, spirituality. Theology is the study of, the existence, God, nature of things, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into that. But we're also going to talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Thi is very multidimensional. She's all about the consciousness, but she's also about having a good time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. This is going to be one hell of a ride. Just to get things underway, you can find me on Crystal.com, or you can find me on TikTok. Just give us a follow. Tell your mom, tell your friends, and just share this. Share this to a complete and utter stranger and tell them to check it out. Tell them Crystal sent you. You can also follow me on Patreon if you want to support me. I tend to put these live podcasts up on Patreon first, just so the subscribers get a taste of what's going on before everyone else does. But it's only for as little as $1 a month. You guys can support me if you feel so Inclined. Alrighty, let's get this show underway. So, Thi, where does your name come from? You're obviously not from around these parts, are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Vietnam. I was born there. I came here when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
So that's where the name came from.
All right. Is that a common Vietnamese name?
That's a very common Vietnamese name, actually.
Thi.
Yeah, Thi.
I've noticed they tend to have a lot of short names like that, like
yeah,
T,
yeah.
P,
Like
ting,
usually a
wing.
3-letter word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's really interesting, yeah.
I like the Vietnamese way of things. It's like just short and sweet, yeah?
Short and sweet.
Kind of like you, short and sweet. You're a little
Thank
pocket
you.
rocket, aren't you?
I'm a fun size.
Yeah. What size are you? What? No, I'm not talking about bra size. You got to be taking it there already. No, we're gonna get into that stuff a bit later. I'm just talking about your size in terms, like what's your height? See, girls always have to be taking it somewhere dirty. I'm not like that, ladies and gentlemen. I am clean. I'm a gentleman. I do not talk about such inappropriate things in the presence of a lady. No, what's your height?
I am 160.
160.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I am about 7 inches. Oh wait. I mean, I'm about. We're talking about height. I am. I don't know. I'm 5'11", I guess. So, do you find that it is advantage being small? Like, can you get into little places that no one else can? Like, when you had to. Because I remember as a kid, whenever we were locked out, my dad would just pop me through the window, lift me up, and I'd crawl up there because I could fit in. Is it like that with you? You get special access because you're a pocket rocket?
Yeah, exactly. Like hiding from my parents when they want to smack me.
Oh,
I can
smack.
hide into those little like cabinets, you know,
You're
tiny little cabinets.
Let's talk about that because we have a lot in common.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents would beat the shit out of you growing up, wouldn't they?
It's
Yeah,
an Asian thing.
it's a Blackanese thing, you know.
Yeah,
Black people,
Blackanese.
yeah, Asian, you know, they tend to have a habit of like. As a kid, one of my earliest memories is going to school and not getting things right, so I get smacked on the hand, and that was just a common thing. I mean, you guys are probably all new, you know, Generation Zs and whatnot, and you're not familiar with the idea of beating the shit out of kids when they don't get things right, but that was a thing for all of history, right? I'm always dropping the knowledge here. For most of all of history, parents and people would beat the shit out of kids when they didn't do things properly, or they just, you know, were too slow. And it's only been a recent event where now kids call, you know, child abuse and things like that. We would always threaten call child abuse as a kid, but our mum would never believe us, you know, and I don't think we ever would have, you know, because, you know, we know that as soon as that child abuse person came in and went out, we'd get an even heavier beating. Exactly, but anyway, so what were your beatings like? What kind of beatings did your parents use on you?
I would say just, you know, like chasing me around the house with like pretty much any weapon, okay? Like chopsticks, anything nearby. Chopsticks, broomsticks, butcher's knife.
Butcher's knife?
Yeah.
This sounds like something out of a Looney Tunes cartoon.
A shoe, a hat.
A shoe, I don't understand. Yeah, I got the shoe.
Anything.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a big difference between a butcher's knife and a shoe.
Anything could have become a weapon, you know, in that moment.
Was it kind of like a threat and, you know, I'll get you with this thing, or do they actually like take a swipe at you with butcher's knives and things like that?
They would try to take a swipe at me and I'll be like running for the
Wow,
kills.
that does not sound like disciplinary action. That just sounds like you were kidnapped. It's kind of like that being a kid, right?
It feels like it, yeah, but I was so desensitized from it, you know what I mean?
Sensitized, yeah, desanitized.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear it. Were you brought up here? Like, as, yeah. Do you speak Vietnamese?
Yeah, I speak both languages fluently.
No way.
I'm fluent in both.
Say something in Vietnamese for us. say I like chocolate. I know what chocolate sounds like in basically every language, so I'll know if you're telling the truth. Say I like chocolate boys in Vietnamese.
Do you really want me to say that?
I want to hear it. I'll know if you're telling the truth.
Tôi thích bạn da đen.
What? That's not. No, I didn't hear chocolate there.
Do I have to say the word chocolate?
Yes, of course.
I see. I did in Vietnamese.
What was the Vietnamese word for chocolate? What? It's like in every other language, chocolate sounds almost like chocolate. But you Vietnamese have to go out and do something completely different. Chocolate is dung? What the? Is that even a word? What is that? How dare you not pronounce chocolate in a chocolatey kind of way? What does chocolate sound like in Vietnamese again? Dung. But I love all the intonations you guys have. Like, you know, it's like,
that's weird.
Because if I try to speak Vietnamese, I'd sound like this, like ming dang dong dong, or I would.
Because we have an accent.
Yeah, but you guys have some.
It dips really low, and then it soars again, and it dips.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But it's amazing. It's like a magical power that only Vietnamese people have. You know, like do you guys get gifted like some special ability to speak your language when you're born in that Vietnamese like way, or is it something you just learn?
You just learn. I think everyone as a kid's like a sponge. You just absorb whatever is around you, and at the same time it's so much easier for you to learn things because you're not
come in, we can't see your beautiful face. These people here want to see you, you know, not this annoying chocolate smile of mine. Wow, so you speak more than one language. I've always been impressed by people that do that. No, but of course I speak several languages, you know, because I'm very cultured. I speak Afrikanese.
What is that supposed to mean?
I like chocolate, and I like it when girls like chocolate boys. That's how you say it in Afrikanese.
Wow.
I know.
So what was the chocolate word?
Jangubli.
That doesn't sound like chocolate.
There are many ways of saying chocolate in Afrikanese. The different dialects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell me more about this life of yours. I mean, you obviously clearly went through some trauma, I'd imagine, growing up as a kid, being chased by butcher's knives. I mean, is that something all Vietnamese people go through? Was that just something that happened to you?
I'd say I I have to say it's a generalized thing, but a lot of Asian parents tend to do that when they get mad. That's how they get into fight mode. You know what I mean? They want to fight you. They want to they want to beat you. They want to like destroy you.
Yeah.
So like in order to break you down completely, so then you can come back up, you know what I mean? So then they want to break you completely down.
Yeah.
So then you can like become a better person. That's how.
Yeah,
they
that's
think. The
brainwashing. That's
mentality.
like classic
Exactly.
brainwashing 101. You break someone down and then you build them up
exactly.
again. You know, it's funny. You always associate certain characteristics to cultures. I mean, some people say that's racist. I say it's just reality, right? It's like black people are known for running fast and, you know, having big hearts. And, you know, like everyone has different things. I think that's fair to say, right, guys? All right. Vietnamese people, let me know if you think this is an accurate characterization. I think this is just Asian people in general. They're notorious for being like, I want to say, how do I say this politically correct? Busy drivers.
Busy drivers.
Yeah, you know how people always make like racist comments in regards to Asians being like Asian drivers because they're really fast. But I think that, let me know, like in Vietnam, do you have like a lot of people driving in the streets and everyone kind of just cuts people off?
There's no lane. There's
no lanes?
Yeah, there's
well,
no
there
lane.
you go.
That's
Yeah.
why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the same over here. That's the mentality they had.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna bring it over here and apply that mentality. You know?
Absolutely.
It's not gonna change.
What other mentalities do you have in Vietnam? You mentioned you guys tend to like to beat your kids like us Africans, you know, it's common. Do you think you guys just like to fight in general? Because I'm guessing like martial arts is a big thing in Vietnam as well, right?
It's, I guess, Asians, I would have to say Asians, we feel things intensely. We're just intense people. And we like to take it out verbally or physically, you know what I mean? We don't even have to have like martial arts skills. You know, a lot of us don't watch that. I mean, women, we don't watch that.
Okay.
But yeah, we tend to be even more violent than men. So that's,
oh wow!
that's,
So you
interesting.
the ladies will
point.
get the butcher's knives,
Yeah,
you know? The guys will like
you think the
wrap their
man,
fists with
you
gloves.
think the guy
Yeah.
would be the one running around with a butcher's knife. It's actually the women.
Yeah.
But men do violence. So they do like use physical like abuse, but they don't. The women are the ones running around with the weapons.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I mean, we live in this world where everyone wants to call everything violence. Like, that's emotional violence, but yeah, when someone's like beating the shit out of you, that's what I call real violence. I actually heard a story one time. I don't want to be presumptuous and say it was from someone from Vietnam, but I'm pretty sure it was an Asian situation where basically some guy was cheating, you know, and his wife found out and cut his dick off, literally cut his dick off, right, and fed it to some like ducks or something like that.
Yeah.
And this guy was able to, like, can you imagine waking up like that? Oh God! Every guy, that's got to be your worst nightmare, right? And apparently, he was able to find, you know, his appendage and was able to get sewn back. I heard this story like years ago. I don't even know if it's true. I presume it's true, but I'm sure something like that has happened in an Asian country before.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, hell hath no fury like an Asian woman that has been betrayed. But I think this just goes, I don't want to be, you know, obviously sexist. I think this just goes out to people in general, right? It's like when people feel like they're betrayed,
Yeah.
they
It's
come
like
up to you with a
human
butcher's
nature,
knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people naturally we don't want to lose. We all have an ego, and we
Yeah.
just don't want to lose a lot. That's human nature.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I don't like losing in, let's say, Call of Duty because I'm competitive about that. But in other things, it's like I don't care. It's like if I'm having sex, it's like I'm quite happy for you to beat me. You know, it's like I kind of like the idea of being thrown around like that, kind of, you know, dominated. That's just me, you know. But yeah, I'm certainly not going to beat the shit out of you, and you know, I think it's all about how you handle loss, right? So how do you handle loss, Thi? You seem like a very spiritually enlightened soul sister. How do you handle
Well, the thing we need to know, everything's neutral, right? Everything's neutral. We are the ones that add meaning to things.
I see where you're going with
You
this.
know what I mean?
All right, come
Yeah.
in here so we can see your face.
So-
All right, this sounds deep. All right.
So, obviously, people who are close to us hurt us the most.
Mm-hmm.
We need to choose the ones that's worth hurting us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure.
so that's something that's a mentality that I have, because I realize there's so many people that aren't worth me getting hurt over, right?
Sure.
But in terms of like, you know, like how to deal with loss, I just sort of just
Say lust or loss?
Sorry, loss. So when
like
it
they're
comes to
connected,
like
right?
loss,
Yeah, when
I
you
just
lose
sort
someone
of
you
like,
lust after him. Sorry, go on. Go on. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, exactly.
And the
You
and the
just-
dick grow
you just
longer.
learn to
I
accept
heard.
it. You just you know that everything's impermanent in life. You accept it and you let go.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's easier said than done, though.
It's obviously easier said than done, but that's why I say I go back to choose the people that are worthy of you getting hurt. You know, because when people that you love
Mm,
want to hurt you eventually.
sure.
So
What
you
what
gotta
if
choose it wisely.
what if there are people that are in your family or part of your community, and you don't think they're worth it? I mean, what do you do then? Do you like, I don't like you, even though you're my sister? You're not worth my
I still respect
suffering.
that person. I would still respect. I'll still send them like love. You know what I mean? Like universal love, that kind of love. You
Yeah.
know?
It's a
But
challenging
I would
thing, though, right?
definitely set my boundaries. I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you read my book. I wrote a book. I kind of
Yeah.
I actually made the same points.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the shameless plug here. Ladies and gentlemen, I did recently put out my first book. It's called Vegan Prince, Warrior King. It's all about, just being being a champion for not just yourself, because I think one of the best ways to help other people is to help yourself, but also being a champion for all the beings that we share this planet with. So that's the earthlings. That's not just your family, but everyone, the animals that we share this planet with. But yeah, I feel like that's a really important thing to like cast a wider net of compassion towards everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you find?
Because everyone's
easy to
most
do?
likely, everyone's probably had some sort of trauma in their life,
Mhm.
and since they don't know how to work a way through that trauma, they put it out on you. They take it out on you.
Absolutely. I've
Yeah.
seen that many a times. There are everyone looks at trauma as being a bad thing, and I think
Mhm.
generally it is, but I know there are some people that actually turn their trauma into something powerful, like
Yeah.
like Billy Carson. Like
Yeah,
I was
of
listening to
course,
this
yeah.
podcast where he's talking about how he went to see some kind of like neurosurgeon, scientist or something like that. This guy does a brain scan on him,
Mm-hmm.
and the common thing you see is when people dealt with a lot of trauma, it actually shows up in their brain.
Yeah.
And
sure,
he's someone
yeah.
that has gone through a lot of trauma, right?
Yeah.
Like unbelievable stuff. But what's happened with him is his brain looks like it's actually on point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being, he moves himself into this state of mind where he starts looking for solutions.
Yeah.
It's like the trauma doesn't negatively affect him in the same way it affects other people. Like a lot of people experience flight or flight, and they become incapable of expressing themselves, thinking straight.
Yeah.
He's able to bypass that and actually look for solutions. There's this thing called the reticular activating system, and people speak about the law of attraction. Like, this is the key thing within that. Ultimately, people say, there are all these things that you need to do in order to achieve your goals, right? Like the law of attraction. Well, you need to you attract what you focus your mind on. Ultimately, what the reticular activating system does, it's basically this mechanism within you where when you think about something, your subconscious, call it what you will, it starts looking for things that can help you achieve that goal. Like the way that the brain works, it's constantly looking for things to solve a solution unconsciously. So by simply focusing on something, if you want something, unconsciously there's this amazing inherent ability where you start looking for solutions, and then it starts seeing as if everything is coming to you. It's like you meet this person, when in reality, these things were there. It's just you weren't noticing it.
Exactly.
But now your mind's on it.
Yeah.
It seems as if all of this stuff is coming into your life and making your goal possible, when in actuality, it's just focus. You got to focus your mind like a laser on what you want, and then it finds its way to you.
Because every thought has a corresponding vibration to it. So if you have a high frequency thought, that will channel a high frequency vibration. You're sending it out there and you'll get it back.
Absolutely. I like the phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Love that.
And vibes speak louder than words, because you find if you are not on the same frequency as someone, as much as you claim, I love everybody, I feel like we're all love, and I'm going to be around anyone, but you'll find just through circumstances you end up repelling each other, And if you fight it, it's just like it's discord. It's like trying to play two notes that shouldn't be together and saying, no, I'm going to make it work, and then it doesn't work. This used to be my thing when I was, making songs. I'd always try to ignore the laws of music, and my friends would get annoyed. You can't do that, Krishna.
Yeah.
You can't play that chord with that, these notes. I'm like, no, I'll do it my own way. but it doesn't sound right, you know. But when obviously you play the right notes, or you are around the right kind of people, because there is a science to this as well, you know. It's like hang out with people that make you feel good. I mean, granted, you know, it's good to be challenged by things, but trust your instincts. Yeah.
It's coherence. So when your mind's thinking of one thing, but your heart's feeling another thing, that's incoherence, right? So you want things to be you want the mind to be coherent, but you also want to be your heart center to be coherent.
Absolutely.
And that creates your electromagnetic field of energy, and that attracts you to people the same frequency as your electromagnetic field.
That's powerful. So it's kind of like not just to walk the walk, talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. You can't just be like, you need to, like, your mind. And I love this phrase that the river of transcendence flows when you think with your heart and you feel with your head, and it kind of it's kind of like an alchemical wedding between.
That.
Yeah,
I love that.
You like my chocolate poetry, right? That's what I call it, chocolate Nubian poetry. Anytime I say wisdomatic rants like that, cool lines. But yeah, I feel like because more often than not, there's this discord I find. I think we were talking about this earlier. You know, it's like
we were talking about
between
this earlier.
like what you feel like you want to do, your heart, and then what your head's telling you to do. And we're all going through that. It's kind of like, you know that you shouldn't go after this girl or this chocolate guy. I don't know. You know, and then your head's telling you, oh, you can't. I mean, he's crazy. You know, these chocolate guys are fucking crazy. You know, and then it's like there's this disconnect, and then eventually, you know, you find out the hard way. It's like, yeah. But you know what it's like. Yeah. Have you had struggles in your life on the romantic side? Like, what's it been like for you as an Asian persuasion Vietnamese girl growing up in Australia, mate?
I mean, I experienced abandoned early in my childhood, so that really affected the way that I perceived love. You know what I mean?
Abandon a pretty little thing like you.
Well, parental, like, neglect.
Oh, neglect. So your parents were there, but they weren't really there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they were physically there, but emotionally absent, and that really did affect me. I mean, everyone experiences trauma differently, but for me, I was quite a sensitive person. I really did. I was the type of person that really needed, like, emotional nurture in order to grow and develop into a fully, like, you know, grown person. And so that really did affect the way that I perceived love. I was always chasing after unavailable people who just didn't like me, and that was because of the conditioning, you know, that the subconscious conditioning I had when I was a child, because I didn't have that, you know, like physical support. I mean, like emotional support. Unavailable parents, when they keep stonewalling you every time you want to, like, talk to them about things, you know, want to talk about your emotions, they will stonewall you, they will ignore you, give you the cold shoulder, talk about different topics. And that was shaped the way that I perceived love, that I need that the ideal guy for me was the unavailable guy, the guy who's also stonewalls me, plays hard to get, you know what I mean? That playing hard to get is a reflection of that bit of trauma that I had, chasing after these men who are unavailable, you know, emotionally unavailable, say, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship,
sure,
etc. Yeah,
that's a very common thing. It seems like I find, I don't want to generalize, but I'm going to generalize. I'd go as far as saying most girls seem to be drawn to the unavailable guys. Like, have you heard of the story or the idea of the 11th man? Yeah, as this idea, you know, where, let's say there are 10 guys in a room, and this attractive woman, so the Asian persuasion girl, walks into the room, and all these guys are, you know, bending over, you know, they're buying her drinks, doing everything for her, and doing everything they can for her attention, and she takes absolutely no notice of them. And then this one guy walks in the room, says hi to Thi, and, you know, goes and catches up with his other guys, doesn't give her even a second thought, and doesn't notice her. Where all the other guys are like, yo, check out that little pocket rocket, yeah. And then that girl is like, what is this guy that has no interest in me whatsoever? I'm so drawn to that guy. And she ends up pursuing that guy. And I feel like on a level it's so true. It sucks though, because we all want to be real, right? But we know, at least I feel, because I've experienced this, and I know a lot of guys have experienced this as well, right? That the more you give people the leeway to abuse your intense, like, feelings for them, like, you give them all your time and you show a tremendous amount of interest, the more likely they are to not appreciate that. And whereas I wouldn't say all women are like that, by far, absolutely not. But there are a lot of girls that are. And it's typically the women that are so used to being sought after that when they're not sought after, it's like, what? What?
Oh, okay.
Obviously, they wouldn't say like, girls don't sound like that. They'd be like, what?
I see where you're going. But I haven't, like, okay, so to finish what I was trying to say before. So, like, for example, like I said, if you have like for someone like me, being sensitive growing up and just not having that father figure that gave me like emotional support.
Sure.
And then I take it in as a trauma, right? I take it in as a trauma. So there's that part of me. I mean, well, there's that dormant part of you that in everybody that wants to fix things, right? So then in looking for a guy who's unavailable is also like a symbol of me trying to like fix something that I can't fix, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Your parents just not wanting to give you that emotional nurture. So you're like, okay, in your subconsciously, I'm going to find somebody. I'm going to try to attract somebody who I can actually try to fix this sort of little like hole inside of me, this little like emptiness inside of me that I'm trying to fill up, you know what I mean?
Sure. It's interesting that you are aware of that though. You're very self-actualized, you know?
Yeah, that's
because a lot of people, they go
it.
through things, they experience these things, but they don't know why they feel the way they do. It seems like you've actually done a lot of thinking, or you're connected to that subconscious aspect of yourself that does these things that a lot of people wouldn't understand.
It's all about going deep, you know?
Yeah.
Getting into your shadow self and digging up the ugly parts of you. And I had to grow in the most confronting way ever. I grew in the most confronting, intense environment, and it's got me to where I am today, where I was like flat out, you know, rejected by numerous guys over the course of my lifetime, and it killed me each and every time. It killed me that because I was not changing. I was still attracting the same unavailable guy, but I knew deep down I needed to change. There was something going on deep within me that I had to like bring up to the surface and examine it, you know what I mean? And the last guy who like flat out rejected me, and I remember I collapsed because like that was like I had enough already. I had enough energy, you know, I had enough of myself just giving energy to like unavailable people.
Sure.
And that forced me to look deep within.
Yeah, because it hurts you, right? Like
really
as much
hurts,
as you say you like looking, you find yourself going out to these guys that are going to reject you. Like each time you do that, I think most people, they sink a little lower, and it becomes difficult to open yourself up because it hurts, right?
Yeah,
it's like
it hurts.
Granted, I think it's important to go through these things, you know, because it forces you to grow. But like, there's only so much, you know, like rejection you can experience before it starts to affect like why. I heard a close friend of mine said this one time, you know, and she was breaking down in tears, like why she's a, you know, really beautiful girl, and she's like, why do these guys, you know, why don't they like me? It was only like one guy that
usually the girl is
and
usually
like,
obsesses
you have
over
all these
the one
guys
guy.
that's falling over you, but the way that it affected her, like what's wrong with me? And because of that, I've noticed, and let me know if this is your thing, because there's so many girls that will do everything not to be rejected. They take it the other way. It's like, if there's even any chance of a guy breaking up with them, they will break up with them before that guy breaks up with them, because the idea of exceling rejection is so painful for them.
It feels like you're being abandoned all over again. Do you know what I mean? That's
absolutely
the psychology behind it. You feel like you're being abandoned all over again. And then just I recently, I mean, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
Where
bipolar.
you feel intense
is that
abandonment. Like you could be in a perfectly healthy relationship, but within the mind of a person with a borderline personality disorder thinks this person's going to abandon them, cheating behind their back, lying to them.
Sure.
Yeah, so they feel these intense fear, and they would do silly things, you know what I mean? They would sabotage that healthy relationship. And then when that guy is like done, that patient, loving, supportive guy is done with them, he leaves, and that's when she's like, oh my God, it's true, no one loves me. It's because she can't see things, you know, clearly for what they truly are. She sees things like black and white, you know what I mean? And this also goes for guys. Like, men have borderline personality disorder, but they just don't show it the same way as women do, but they do as well, from varying degrees. There are also men who've experiencing things intensely as well, and they just shut down completely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when you
and
say your parents were, you felt like they emotionally abandoned you. I mean, obviously, you know, you had a roof over your head. You went through education.
yeah.
Did you get an allowance when you were growing up? I didn't get an allowance until I was in high school, and I was like, yes, I got a few dollars for the week.
Yes, I did.
But you
I
on
did get some
allowance?
pocket money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, you know, like
It's a little bit something.
so what would they?
to
I mean, I don't want to
encourage
shame your
you.
parents or anything. My parents would probably my parents would always say, you know, you'll love me when you're older for me treating you hard like
Yeah,
this. And I'm like, no,
exactly.
I'm just
I
end up
mean-
resenting you.
I mean, they came from a
It's like-
time of scarcity. They didn't have materialistic
Yeah.
things that we have now. So to them, love is equal to money. Love is equal to food on the table.
Yeah.
Love is equal to like doing things for you, you know, taking you to
Yeah.
school.
And making
paying
sure that
your-
you're strong,
yeah,
because this is the
exactly.
difficult thing. I think as a mother, I asked a friend of mine, she's becoming a mother at the time. I asked her this, like, if she had to choose between having a child and treating that child so well that the child was they were so close, it was ridiculous, or treating that child in a way where even though the child may not love her as much, the child was going to be better at life and succeed because they had gone through the difficulty with discipline to actually be successful. And she chose the latter, you know. And the thing is, it really made me think. She said to me that, you know, it's basically her job. Like, if you really love your child, like, you want your child to be successful, to thrive. Do you think your parents, a lot of the things that they were doing, they're doing from the mindset of, look, this is what Thi needs to do, needs to deal with it in order to be successful?
That's what I mean. They're just doing what their parents did to them. You know what I mean? My mum endured a lot of beating and verbal abuse from her parents. So I really do see the link there. You know,
it's
but
what they
even
think
though-
is necessary to bring about a particular
and let's
result,
say
you know?
if you speak up, you stand your ground, you speak up to the abuse, emotional abuse. My mum would say, "I'm nowhere near as your grandmother." Nowhere near as your grandmother. She was 10 times worse. I don't think we would even be alive if you were living in my time, in my shoes.
At least there's improvement, right? I mean, that's not good enough. It's like, if someone is
there has been improvement.
is only beating the shit out of you once out of every 7 days, you know, as opposed to 7 days a week, you know. I mean, it's not like I'd rather them just not be doing it at all, right?
But I guess she does have PTSD. Like, she was growing up during the time of the Vietnam War. I mean, you know, between the South and the North of Vietnam. So she does have PTSD, you know, all those bombings and living in scarcity.
Yeah.
And then the communists changing the dollar currency. So then all the money that my grandmother and grandfather made was all for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy to think that our parents lived through some crazy
some
times,
really
you know?
crazy intense days when
Yeah.
they starved. They had nothing to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was told by someone recently that I shouldn't do this when I'm looking at, but it helps me, you know, like people say you should never compare your situation to someone else's.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But I'm one of these people that I see, you know, misery loves company. It's kind of like when you're going through shit and you realize that everyone else is going through that shit. It's like, oh, it's not so bad, you know. It's like when you're watching shows like, you know, like not Oprah, but you know, they used to have these really like crazy shows like Dr. Phil. That's a classic example, right? When you see some crazy mofo girl like that's just like, you know, she's sleeping with her brother or something like that and saying, you know, I don't fucking care. It's just some ridiculous thing. And then you're like, oh, thank God I don't have it that bad, right? And I would often look at the stuff that people went through in the past, or think people that are going through elsewhere, and I hate saying that it would comfort me, but it would make me feel as if it puts things into perspective. It makes you realize, you know what, you shouldn't be complaining. Like, did your parents ever tell you, like, you know, don't waste your food, think about all the starving people in Africa? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, I mean, that never worked on me, but it's kind of that logic. It's like, how can I be complaining when other people have got it so bad? But that being said, I feel like the right thing to say is to say, I mean, there is no right thing to say, right? But it's like, your issue, regardless of how small it is important to you. And I don't want to undermine the importance of that. But it is good when you can shift your perspective. Like, anything you can do to give you a better perspective that's going to help you to get by, you know? So my perspective is like, oh, it's good to know a lot of people going through the same kind of shit. But
In varying degrees.
In varying degrees.
It comes down to your perspective as well, you know what I mean? I mean, I grew up with a really pessimistic way of perceiving life, and I guess it was passed down from my mom. You know what I mean? She has a really pessimistic way of perceiving life because she was growing up in that time and era, right? So she passed it on to me, and I was like thinking, there's nothing that I'm not experiencing like the detrimental like effects of war, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it inside of me, and I think it must be from inside a womb. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like have you heard of epigenetics? Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of things that affect you environmentally. Even during the pregnancy stages. And it's crazy. Like they've shown tests. Bruce Lipton speaks about this a lot, about how they found when a mother is surrounded around more stressful environments, the arms and the legs of a child will actually grow longer. Strangely enough. I mean, I'd be inclined to think there are certain aspects, though, that are probably negatively affecting the child, because you don't want to be going through all this stress and stuff, It's weird because stress can either act as a catalyst to forcing you to grow. I mean, that's essentially how you grow muscles, Your muscles break down and then they build up stronger. Yeah. And on a level, mentally, it also works like that. Like if you go through certain levels of trauma, like you get beaten up enough times, it's not so bad, right? But the thing is, you need to go through the right kind of stress. Like there's something called eustress. It's a Greek word, and it's the kind of stress, it's the kind of resistance where it's enough to force you to grow. But if you get too much of that stress, too much of that, like you work out too hard, you ever done that? You break an arm or something like that, and then you can't work for like a whole year. That doesn't do you any good. So it's always about finding the level of resistance that's going to allow you to grow in life. And that's the tricky thing. It's the sweet spot. Because look, I love the quote from JFK: don't ask for an easy life, ask to become a stronger person in order to be able to face those difficult challenges. I paraphrase.
And one of the things that we need to know is like the better we get, the harder it gets. And that's something I play in my mind all the time. It's like playing a game. And, you level up, it gets harder. You level up, it gets harder. That's how I see it. It's
absolutely. Like, the universe will bring challenges to you when you are ready to deal with it. It's interesting because I think there's this idea. This is a John DeMartini idea that there are two ways to face life. One is to completely avoid difficulties, challenges, right? And one is to face them. And you think that by avoiding these challenges, you can have a much easier life. But the universe has this way of, like, if you avoid these challenges, a lot of the times the universe will bring challenges to you, so you will eventually have to face it. Yeah, exactly. So by going out and confronting the stuff that you're most afraid of, it will allow you to, like, all the right kind of people will come to you in order to allow you to confront that.
It's love karma.
As opposed to avoiding that completely. And you'll find that stuff is going to hit you somewhere down the line anyway. So, as much as and look, I suck at this as well. I try to do that which I'm most afraid of, whether it's like, man, let me message this girl, quick right here. I know I don't want to like get rejected, but fuck, I'm going to do it just because, I'm apprehensive. It might not be a big deal to a lot of people, but if it scares you, if you're apprehensive about something, follow that. If it's like going out and applying for that job and you're like, no, I don't want to do it anyway, because the person that you become from doing that thing is more important than whether or not you get that. Yeah. Like,
it's important because you want to maintain alignment of your chakras, and I'm going a little bit too deep.
Okay, let's get
but like
deep
I said,
into spiritual,
you don't
metaphysical,
want to,
yo.
Like when you hold on to a fear, it activates the 3 centers of your body, the first 3 centers, and you keep doing that repeatedly. Eventually you'll lose energy. You know what I mean? You're pulling energy out. You're pulling energy from your electromagnetic field. You're drawing it in, and eventually you're like pretty much like a piece of metal without a charge, right? And then that's how you fall back. Fall back and fall back and fall back instead of moving forward and forward and forward. Yeah. Because you're like your field is getting diminished, and you're becoming
absolutely
a person without purpose and drive and hope now, because your self-esteem is going back.
Yeah. Just to give the audience a bit of like a backdrop in regards to what you're saying there. Essentially, like Thi is making reference to the chakras, and the first 3 centers relate more to survival, emotional. The idea is that you're trying to bring yourself, your consciousness to a state of higher thinking, awareness, like the higher chakras. Let's look at these as archetypes. They deal with things more in the realm of like spirituality, like the heart chakra is more universal consciousness, and then you move into the higher chakras, deals more with clairaudience, clairvoyance, and so forth. But the first chakra is more about survival, so it's very much activated by fear. And the thing is, when you were staying in this chakra, granted, you were living your life, and you're caught up with sex, drugs, and enjoying yourself, but it prevents you from bringing about this efflorescence of consciousness in the same way that a flower grows from the roots, right? But doesn't stay there. It eventually opens up its flowers and then allows the sun to illuminate it and become this majestic part of the entire planet universe, and that's what you want to happen to yourself. And look, I suck at this as well, because I'm all about, man, I just want to have a good time, sex, drugs, rock and roll, I mean, I don't take drugs, I do music, and I like the senoritas. However, I always try to think about what I can do to bring about that ascension.
Balance. The homeostasis, that alignment, because we overdo things.
Yeah.
It's not
I thought you said homeostasis there. I was like, that homie, like, state of mind, like, you're my homie, but
sometimes
your
I have a
homeostasis.
list.
Yeah. No, I heard it. You actually pronounced it right. I was like, I like that homie. Yo, man, it's all about that homeostasis, being with your homies. But you mean, like, balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Thi, you're obviously a very conscious girl. You're all about the spirituality. Have your parents brought you up to be like that? Is that like, are you a Buddhist or something?
My parents are Buddhist. I wouldn't say they are like stern Buddhist believers, or like those very disciplined.
What is a Buddhist?
Followers.
What is a Buddhist, Miss Thi-ology?
A Buddhist is an enlightened human being. Simple as that. When people complicate things.
Okay,
Yes.
I like that. So someone that has learned to live in the world but be not of it. It's pretty dope, wasn't it? That's pretty enlightened.
An enlightened person, before they became enlightened, they carry water and chop wood.
Yeah.
After they became enlightened,
Can you
they
say
carry
that
water
in a heavy
and chop
Vietnamese
wood.
accent? Because I feel like it always sounds more
it sounds better
wisdomatic.
in Chinese.
Yeah. Can
because
you
it
say that with
originated from
a Chinese kind of accent? Just give it a shot. What you were saying.
Before you become enlightened, you chop wood and carry water. After you become enlightened, you still carry water and chop wood.
Oh wow! I feel like that just really got to me, even though I mean the words were the same as what you that.
It's something that
Can you do that all the
Confucius
time?
would say.
Yeah. Can you do that all the time? It's like people just sound. There's certain accents that make you sound more spiritual. It's like Chinese, like you must become like water. It is like a finger pointing to the moon. You will miss all the heavenly glory if you do not be like water. Can you speak like that all the time? I'd be calling you up. Theo, I need spiritual counseling. My parents are abusing me. Don't worry. Well, that was really cool. Yeah. So, your parents were Buddhist, and you were brought up. Did you go to Buddhist school or something, or is that just something that you're? I mean, how do you become a Buddhist?
I remember the first time I went to the temple when I was like at the age of 6, and I was like thinking to myself, why do I have to bow before a statue? Right? I was thinking for myself. I was thinking critically at that age already. Why do I have to bow before a statue? Like, what does this statue mean? You know what I mean? What significance does this statue have on people? Why are people so praising? Like, why are people praising this statue that just looks really nice? So I think that was the starting point of me just going off in a direction very different to my mom's and my dad's, and just getting onto this spiritual path. Because when I was young, I was always asking myself questions like, what's my purpose in life? Why was I born into this body?
Mm-hmm.
I would sit in class and ask myself those questions instead of like listening to the teacher read a book. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sounds like you were far before your time,
And I always felt like I was out of place. You know what I mean? I never felt like I fit in. And it was tough growing up. You would have like all these thoughts that your friends would be like, why are you thinking like that? You know what I mean? It's weird. Snap out of it.
My indigo sister,
Indigo.
I feel that. I went through a lot of that as well. I had some very, very intense experiences as a child. But now this is about you. So you've obviously had a rough childhood in terms of the trauma, parental,
Very
smackery.
intense.
Yes.
Very intense.
And it's affected your relationships. How's that affected like your overall attitude towards life in terms of what you want to achieve? Like what do you want to do with your life, and what do you want to bring into the universe based off of the experiences you've had?
It's really changed the way I perceive my life. Like when I got into high school, I was starting to think I was getting into a slump. I mean, like I would get into depression and I'll sink, you know, I get into this little spiral. Because to me, I mean, from all the things that was happening to me in my life, health crisis, abusive parents, you know, having an autistic brother, a brother you just couldn't connect. You know, you try to connect. It's just so difficult to connect with a kid, you know what I mean?
Your brother was autistic?
And
Well,
he's still autistic.
So,
And it was just
so what does that mean, if you don't mind me asking? Because I hear they're very different kinds of...
Very different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they're just... To me, he's special.
Sure.
I would say he's special.
Yeah.
He's special. He's just different. I would say he's like a spiritual messenger on this planet. You know what I mean? They just feel things so much. They can sense little vibrations. You know what I mean? And they get angry and agitated because they don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, it's funny because in the current world we look at that as some kind of like a negative, when I feel like in a time not that long ago, these people have been looked at as the priests, the shamans, those that were more connected to things,
Very more connected,
not at this earthly plane.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry to interject there. So your brother obviously went through some of the difficulties that you went through.
He went through a lot of difficulties simply because he's sensitive, but to the next level. Like we're sensitive, but they're like next level, like next level sensitive. And it was really tough because he would scream, he will like push the TV over, he will make it super difficult. And my mum having PTSD, that would just drive her off the wall. And I didn't know how to deal with things at home, you know what I mean? So I would start to contemplate. I would try to seek answers from above, you know what I mean? I would just be like, what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose? Why is my life so difficult compared to my friends? You know, why they have such an easygoing life? And so that really deterred me away from the academic life, you know what I mean? I wasn't really invested into like chemistry or mathematics. You know
well, life is academic, right? And
I know.
Going through experiences,
life is
it's like somehow...
That's a school of life that we're
Absolutely.
forgetting, you know what I mean?
School of hard knocks, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people who do academically really well in school may not do so well, you know what I mean?
Learning a bunch of things that you're probably not going to use.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
The whole education system is taking a tremendous turn. I mean, so many of the universities are realizing that like online is the way to go. Like information is I mean, there's so much of it that people don't need to go through the same avenues. And I just feel like the entire notion of what it means to be academic has been turned on its head. And I think people that have real life experience are obviously going to be more sought after. But more specifically, I think just this idea that you need to be book smart in order to get by is just, it's not the way, you know? Like it's always better to have the kind of knowledge that you can apply. You know, knowledge without being able to apply it is not real. It's not real wisdom, right?
Exactly. I mean, I won't shun people who want to go on that path. That's their choice. You know, I'm not here to say, you know, rebel from class, rebel from school, you know, ditch school, you know, drop out.
You're a bit of a rebel, though, aren't you? You like to rebel from things.
I mean, my ultimate question all the time would be, how do I be happy? You know what I mean? What's happiness?
Sure.
That's the question I always ask myself. What is happiness? And for me, it was definitely not to do like 12 years of school, you know what I mean, to be a doctor.
So what makes you happy the most right now, in terms of fulfilling your life's purpose?
I would say just to be myself, follow my heart's desire, whatever it is, whatever.
Well, what is your heart's desire? Because I know you have some passions, like you've spoken to me about, like your
art. It's
animation.
Like second nature to me. Like art, like sketching. I do it really well. I mean, when I was young, people would my peers would be really amazed by it. They would surround me in a circle, and they'll ask me about the drawing that I just drew, and they'll ask me, did you really draw that? I mean, I don't think you drew that because it looks exactly the same.
Well, why don't you show me your art? I mean, I've seen like in a little animation that you drew. You drew an animation of me, you know, it's pretty cool, you know, it's like saying, I was riding some unicycle saying, boom shakalaka.
yeah. That was
really cool.
Sketch.
That's 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Like, do you do a lot of that kind of stuff, or?
I do it. I need to do it so then I can get into the 3D sculpting, the 3D animation. So it's slow transition from the 2D to the 3D.
Yeah, because
4K resolution.
I mentioned this to you. I'd love to see you do something where you use your animation and you talk about the stuff you're very passionate about, the theology. I just had an idea. You should create a channel, right, called Thi-ology, and you talk about all this stuff in regards to Buddhism, spirituality, dealing with trauma, right? And then you animate it. Similar to, there's a channel that is huge on the tubes, right? It's called Spirit Science, right? You guys got to check this out.
I think it's Spirit Verse. I think he changed the name.
He changed the name?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're on top of this stuff. Yeah, but I think his name's Jordan. Yeah, my man Jordan. Yeah, this guy's dropping some powerful esoteric knowledge, and he's made it so palpable. And I love that stuff, because when you can make something that is so complicated, easily accessible to the masses, you know, that's the digital pivot. That's what's going on these days, you know?
Everybody loves a bit of animation. Like,
absolutely.
They love it.
Yeah,
you know?
I would.
There's a kid in everybody that enjoys animation.
I would love to see you do that. Obviously, you got to give me 20% royalty, though, because I came up with the idea. Theology. I'm a businessman, ladies and gentlemen. But, I'm sorry. She's only a small little one. I smacked her really hard, you know? So, Thi, wow. So, what else do you do with yourself? You're into the animation. You're a bit of a social media junkie, aren't you? Like, you like flaunting yourself around like me. You know, like I'm always serenading people on TikTok, which I'm on right now. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I haven't been interacting much with you guys. I'm too busy talking to this lovely sweet girl over here. But be sure I'm going to be posting this up on my YouTube channel. I'll send you the link to it. You can find me on TikTok and whatnot. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I'm a social media whore, and apparently you have a thing for that too. Like, do you have a social media presence? Do you want to create content online? Do the whole social media thing?
I'm actually on the break now.
On a break?
I'm on a detox.
Detox.
So I've been off like social media since like January 2022.
Oh wow!
But before that, I was doing a lot of posing, and taking photos of myself.
Okay.
So taking photos of yourself. The typical, the typical girly stuff.
What's typical? Because typical girly stuff on Instagram is like showing your ass and like flaunting it. And
pretty much that. That sums
sweet.
it up.
Why didn't you? I want your Instagram account. You know, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see, pictures of Thi scantily clad, hit her up on her social media. Because you can get a lot of money from that stuff now. Like, I can't believe.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
but it's really competitive because a lot of people are doing it.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know there's some girl.
I'm out of that game.
Because you detox from social media in general, right?
It was getting way too toxic for me.
What's toxic about social media? Because it's like people detox from food, from toxic relationships, and it seems like the 21st century is all about social media detox now. Is social media bad, or is it something you need in moderation? Why is social media not a good thing in certain situations?
In certain situations, basically, they're very clever. I mean, they got it all figured out. You know what I mean? The science behind it, psychology behind it. They're trying to implant something, a little seed in your subconsciousness, that little ping of the button, the way they delay the news feed popping up. It's an addiction. It's a dopamine rush.
Yeah.
So it gets you coming back and back and back.
Absolutely.
And not only that, every time you post something, you get a rush of dopamine.
Yeah.
But just as quick as it comes,
is dopamine a bad thing though? Like if I'm getting lots of dopamine.
It's not a bad thing, but once you like you over like run those like overstimulate those like dopamine little circuits. It's no good.
Yeah. I mean, I can only think of the negative side for me being like when I feel like, it's like when you're getting something good, but then you're not getting it anymore. And it's like, why do I feel annoyed the fact that I don't get enough likes? Why aren't there enough? Why aren't there 2,000 people that are viewing me right now? Guys, I'm joking. I appreciate the 3 viewers out there. It's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. I always say that. But the thing is, like, you do want more, right? It's like, I want more. More. Why can't I get more? And then when you don't get that more, you get frustrated. And I suppose that's a negative side, right? But I suppose you could say that about life. Like,
this is how bad it's gotten. There was a person that committed suicide because he wasn't getting enough likes on TikTok.
I believe that.
Yes.
Sure I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're living in a point now where it's whereas people used to speak about currency like money. Now it's all about clout. It's all about having that attention. It's like, why do I only have 1,000 followers? Logan Paul has 10 billion. I want to be like that.
They're trying to distract us.
Yeah,
but
it's always.
That's why I'm trying to get out of the matrix. You know what I mean? That's the matrix for me.
Yeah, that's the conscious thief for it.
Digital matrix.
It's like on one level, with all the humility that I can muster, I feel like I am the shallowest person in the fucking universe. And I'm proud of it. It's like I love the social media. It's like hell, I'd be flaunting my stuff left, right, and center. Showing my ass on social media if there was a market for it. But I don't think you guys want to see my ass, do you? But it's got a pretty nice ass. I think I got a pretty nice. But the thing is, I don't get down. I don't get bummed in the same way. Like I feel like I'm healthy enough to actually. My whole thing in life is I want to entertain people. I want to influence people, and I think as a performer, there is something very powerful about knowing that you are being reached. Like no artist, painter, like this is the idea, right? Creates a painting and doesn't sign it because they want to gain some kind of recognition from the work that they created. I don't think there's anything inherently bad about wanting to know that you're having a positive impact on people. So on a level, I very much am the kind of person that does want to be on social media. I do want to reach people because that's my mission in life, because I want to have a positive impact. I want to inspire people through music. And that being said, it's just fun when you get to interact with people. And even more fun when you're talking about things that you're passionate about. Yeah. That's why I have this podcast. And then other people hit me up and they're like, yo, man, I feel what you're talking about. Then you meet all these people that are interested in the same stuff you are.
It opens the door to meeting all people from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of being a podcast host.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've taken a hiatus from social media since January. Are you planning on making a comeback? Are you gonna start up your Instagram, perhaps open an OnlyFans account or something, and have all the guys hit you up? What's your plan, and what do you feel about that stuff?
I'm just enjoying my life at the moment. It's amazing. It's been amazing just not having my two eyes glued to the screen all the time. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, because I've been thinking lately, like I really want to reach a point where, I mean, my whole thing for the last couple of years, I've been calling myself a content creator. Whereas I just make YouTube videos and, just try to, but because it's become so lucrative, how rude of you to have your phone turned off when we're having this incredibly important podcast. And shame on you, Thi. But, no, I think being a content creator has actually become one of the most lucrative areas of business, or people that are even just creating content, because they're businesses that want this kind of stuff. Like people that are on TikTok right now, like there are so many ways to earn money. Like you can have a look at companies that are advertising things, and you can try to recreate the things that they're advertising on TikTok, and you can hit them up, if you can do it better. But more important, like for someone like me, using these avenues to actually earn money is a viable thing. There's so many people out there that are, that have OnlyFans accounts and they're raking in, thousands of dollars a month, or people that are creating content using cryptocurrencies, like they're platforms that pay you for making posts, like Hive, which is a platform I'm on. But I just feel like it's a real way to actually create business, whereas in the past people would look at that as some kind of hobby. So as a way of not just fulfilling your passion, your career, but also making a living, being able to sustain yourself, I think it's lucrative. Have you tried is that what's your goal in terms of the career path and things like that? Like do you aim to make a living through social media, or stick to the animation? What's your goal? I would love to be a freelancer. I would love to be an animator one day. Okay. That's my passion. I realize I lose time to that. Like it's just like you're in the moment. I mean, you're in flow state. Absolutely. And that's where your heart is at. So you gotta follow your heart. Absolutely. I often say that, the most amazing thing, the success to me is doing what you love doing and not having to think about the money, Like when you're in a point where you don't, like I watched this video of David Guetta. He was asked how much money he gets paid. Like someone asked him, do you get paid $37 million a year? He's like, I don't know. But then he said, it's a good place when you don't care about how much money you make, And it's like when you were doing something and you were able to create so much value that you're not concerned about the amount of value you're creating, because it's being so impactful, and you're rewarded. I think being rewarded with money, it's just showing that your stuff is being appreciated, is being valued, and that's a good place to be at, where you're doing something you love doing, though, because it's easy to earn money doing something that you don't like. That's how most people look at work, right? But it's a really difficult and noble thing to actually devote yourself towards something you're passionate about, and then find you never have to work a day in your life. And that's something that I'll spend my whole life, striving for. Like I do that part time to some extent at the moment, but like when I don't have to do anything I don't want to do anymore,
Maybe that's just being unrealistic. I think there's probably be always something that you don't want to do, right? But in terms of money, like I don't have to do the stuff I don't want to do for money. That's my goal. And it seems would I be right in saying your goal is along that line, like trying to
exactly, passion comes first, like, and then that will produce money.
Absolutely. I love the idea of having, like, there's this word called I forget, it's a Japanese word. It'll come to me another time, but essentially it's when you
It'll come to you,
it's when you have all of these different attributes aligned. So your passion, your vocation, and that which you can be paid for, that which you love. Ikigai, that's the word. It's a Japanese word. And ultimately, like I have a mission. Like a lot of people don't know this about me, other than just making content, to entertain. Like I'm involved in things that I'm obviously passionate about, in terms of like relating to the freedom movement, relating to like animals, animal rights, that kind of stuff. I'm all about that. But ultimately, when you can be bringing all of these things together, that's a powerful place to be at. And it's always good when you meet like-minded people that are focusing on things that align with your stuff. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that you do is like we have a lot in common in terms of the spirituality thing and the like. You're a V-gangster apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Why do you eat plants? Thought you need to eat meat in order to be healthy.
I don't know. I just feel better when I'm eating plants.
Okay.
I feel better. I feel like I'm more connected to
Mother Earth.
Yeah.
It's good to be connected to Gaia, right? Yeah, not to be destroying every aspect of Mother Earth, living in harmony with this thing, like in a homeostasis, right? With your homies.
I want to be in an ecosystem, not an ecosystem.
Oh, I like that. Okay. I like that. Dropping some conscious knowledge. See, that's what Thi is all about. She's all about the ecosystem. Oh, wait, no. Eco. See, that's my place, the ecosystem. I'm all about, everybody look at me. Come and follow me. I want you guys to look at my ass. Pay me lots of money and give me lots of attention. No, it's all about eco-space. Is that what you said, or did I just come up with that myself? Eco. I like that even better. Eco-space, right? I just came up with a new word. Eco-space. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Finding your eco-space, ladies and gentlemen. I think I might make that the title of this podcast.
Why not? Eco-space sounds dope.
Yeah. So, Thi, now I know you're taking a hiatus from the social media, but do you want to just, in the event that you do want to get back on there, do you want to let us know how people can get a hold of you, check you out, perhaps stalk you? Do you have an OnlyFans? I'm sure people want to check you out on that.
I'm not active on there.
Oh, damn it. More people need to have an OnlyFans account. I'm thinking of making one. If anyone wants to check out my ass, look up Chocolate Nubian ass cheeks, and OnlyFans / Chocolate Nubian ass cheeks. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Hopefully I'll get a few subscribers. So no social media at the moment?
No social media.
Oh, wow.
I'm
All
good.
right.
I'm
All
good.
right.
I'm
well,
off the grid.
If you guys want to get in touch
Loving
with
it.
the lovely Thi, well, let's see your face here, you can hit me up and I might direct you to her. Oh, she doesn't want to be contacted, right? She's taking a hiatus. All right. Well, when she
I'm
is
on a vacay.
When she's back in the eco space, oh, see what I did there? I will let you guys know. But for now, Thi, thank you so much for coming on the Crystal Journey podcast. It's been a lovely hour.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's been you've been my first TikTok live stream, so no, it's good. All right, well, ladies and gents, freaks and geeks, be sure to tell your mom, tell your friends about this channel, and obviously if you want to get in touch with Thi, you'll have to stay tuned to me, and I'll let you know once she comes off her hiatus. But you guys can follow me on TikTok. I'm on Patreon. You can find my links through here. Give us a follow. And as I always like to say on my podcast, right? I don't say this on my TikTok streams, but I try to be more wisdomatic on my podcast. There are 3 things that cannot remain hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother. Alrighty. That's good. All right.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to leave it there. Until next time, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. Boom shakalaka.
Like this notion of liberty, for example. What is liberty?
And I think that concept of the will is very important.
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet? What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
Bitcoin will not work as digital gold.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.
Everyone deserves the same chance, the same treatment, the same respect.
The peace in a world that's flooded with war. History's littered with body scar, trying to settle the score to maintain an archaic.